Yes, lads, we are back again with another tier list. This time midfielders. Yesterday I uploaded the forward version. If you've not checked that out, please do so. I have made a few adjustments to the actual list this time round. So we've added a tier 3 in, and we've moved down the stinky tier to tier 4. I felt like after looking at your comments, we definitely bulked out tier 2, for the forward version, probably a bit excessively. So yeah, I've added another tier in, so hopefully things are a little bit more even now, I think, going forward. If you do enjoy the video, lads, please do leave it a like, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and if you are completely new to Sorare, there is a link in the description of this video that will get you £50 worth of free market credits once you've purchased your first 5 cards from the auctions. So let's just get into it then, lads. First player up is Bruno Guimaraes. Somebody who I rate massively. I'm quite surprised that he hasn't moved this window. I'm pretty sure he's just been announced captain, hasn't he, of Newcastle? So that's probably something to do with it. And yeah, I was surprised. I thought he would have moved to City. It doesn't look that way. It looks like he's going to have another year at Newcastle, which I think is fine for him. And I think we're gonna start off hot, lads. I think we're gonna throw him straight into star rare. I think Bruno's a star rare comfortably. Yeah, okay, he might lack a goal, but he's somebody. Well, last season had a very good amount of assists. His AA game is just elite. You can expect 20 to 30 AA from Bruno most games. Controls midfield so well. And yeah, if he does add a decisive, which we know he's capable of, there's definitely room for him to peak at 100 in a lot of fixtures. So yeah, I think Bruno's a comfortable star rare for me. Emile Smith-Rowe, new signing for Fulham. Started off pre-season pretty well, hasn't he? I think he scored a couple of goals in pre-season. I mean, they've paid good money for him. There's no way he doesn't play most games if he's fit. It's just a question of, can he stay fit? I really hope he can, because he is very talented. We've seen it in glimpses, for Arsenal over the years. I mean, he's not a star rare. I don't even think he's a tier 1, if I'm being honest, purely because he's playing for Fulham. No disrespect, but can you expect massive AA games from Emile Smith-Rowe? I'm not convinced. I think he'll score 5 to 8 goals, maybe, if he can do that in assists as well. Then that would look like a very good year for him. I think I'm going to put him in tier 2. I think he deserves to be in tier 2. But yeah, João Gomez up next. He had a decent Copa America. I thought he looked pretty good. He was playing over Douglas Luiz, a lot of times. So yeah, Luiz has obviously just moved to Juve. I mean, I think Luiz is a better all-round player, but there is room for João Gomez to be a half-decent Premier League player. Is he going to be as good as Emile Smith-Rowe, as far as scores go? I'm not convinced. I think he goes into tier 3 for me. Wolves, I think, will struggle without Pedro Neto, but yeah, hopefully they can replace him. But yeah, I think tier 3 is probably where he belongs. He could push up to tier 2 at some point, I think, but yeah, I'm definitely not writing him off completely. Idrissa Gana Gueye, we're into Everton now. To be fair, he is capable of monster AA games. Like, I have seen it from him. Look, he's not gonna get the DAs. He's not gonna get goals and assists for you with the role he plays in that 6 role, a bit deeper for Everton. But no Onana now, so I'm sure Gueye will play quite a lot of games. So I think I think he's in the same vein as a João Gomez, to be honest. Similar positions. I think you could probably expect similar scores. He will peak now and again. He will get 5 or 6 tackles and end up getting a triple and scoring really well. But yeah, I don't think he's really that punchy realistically, in most game weeks. James Garner, of course, of Everton as well. Somebody that does take the odd set piece as well. Off Dwight McNeil, if they want a right-footed player to change the angle sometimes, I think he does come into that. He is capable of getting tackles, interceptions, duels won as well. I think he's in the Emile Smith-Rowe category, to be honest. I think we can put him into tier 2. I think he's a little bit better than Gueye. I'd prefer to own a James Garner, not from like an under-23 perspective, but just in general, over Idrissa Gana Gueye. Morgan Gibbs-White next. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is like the most underrated. I mean, I don't know if he's underrated, but probably the best number 10 playing for like a lower rank side in the Premier League. I think that's fair to say. There was rumours he might have gone to Spurs. It didn't happen. And I kind of get it. Like, what's the point going to Spurs when you've got Maddison there and stuff? There's just too much competition. But I think he's a very, very good player. Now, is he better than Emile Smith-Rowe? I'd say yeah. Is he better than James Garner? Now, I'm talking about Sora now, not necessarily in real life. He probably is better in real life as well, if we're being completely honest. I think he deserves to go into tier 1. I know he's not playing for the best of sides, but somebody that will take a lot of set pieces, will be the main creator for Forest. If they're going to score goals, he's probably going to get the assist most of the time, right? Callum Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Chris Wood, they've got a bit of firepower. Like, I think he deserves to be in tier 1. I think he's a little bit better than those tier 2 players so far. And yeah, for that reason, he falls into tier 1. Into Liverpool then. We've got Dominic Szoboszlai, who did not have a good season last year, if we're being honest. I own his card. I won his Liverpool card last season. And yeah, didn't really get a chance to really see any great scores from him. Fell out of favour with Klopp, it felt like, for whatever reason. A few injuries and niggles. And yeah, just definitely didn't perform to the abilities that I think he can do. It does look like Slot really likes him, and it does look like he's going to be their designated number 10 in that midfield trio. So for that reason, I think Szoboszlai deserves to be in tier 1. You know, there is a few uncertainties there. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen Slot ball yet. But I do think he definitely deserves to be in there. Harvey Elliott, I think he's a solid tier 2. Could have his sort of breakout year, I'd hope. You know, from a Liverpool's perspective, he is a very, very talented player. Somebody that does suit the Sora matrix. I'm just not convinced yet he's a tier 1. He has tier 1 potential, don't get me wrong. He has so much ability, but will he get the guaranteed game times? I hope he does for his sake. But yeah, he definitely deserves to be in that tier 2 for me. McAllister, really tough one actually, because yeah, is he as good as Bruno? You could argue maybe, yeah. From a Sora perspective, definitely got more of a goal in him. Does he control games as well as a Bruno does in real life? Probably not, but they do vacate different positions, and yeah, they are different players. McAllister's so dynamic and so flexible, I think, in that midfield 3 for Liverpool. If Szoboszlai is going to be the 10, then obviously McAllister isn't. So you could probably, foresee him being that 8. And I think he'll score very, very well. I don't foresee him dropping his standards from last season at all. Is he a star rare, though? He could be, He actually could be. I think I am going to throw him into star rare. If I'm going to put Szoboszlai in there, into tier 1, and he didn't have a good season last year, there's no way I can't put McAllister higher than him, going off last season. And don't get me wrong, going off last season isn't always the recipe for what is going to happen this season. There's definitely loads of variables that change. New manager, of course. So yeah, I'm going to stick my neck out though and say that he is star rare capable for sure. James Ward-Prowse did not have the best of years last year. Of course, set piece taker, so he's definitely in the conversation of being able to peak if he plays games. But I think he's a tier 2 for me this season. Yeah, I mean, West Ham do look good. Don't get me wrong, they have a lot of firepower. Will he start every game? Maybe. We'll have to see. New manager again, so there's definitely question marks there. Paqueta, I don't know what's going on with his sort of court case and ban. So, I'm going to assume that he doesn't get banned. We'll just kind of use that as the assumption. For me, he goes into tier 1. Very, very good, number 8, number 10. Can get tackles, duels, 1 interceptions, and never mind his sort of goal-scoring threat, with assists as well added in. So, yeah, if Paqueta's, not going to JLFC, then, yeah, I think he deserves to be in that tier 1 pool. Edison Alvarez, I think he's okay. He is able to get, some good AA games, 30 to 35 AA, I'd say he'd peak out at. Is there decisives in there for him? Probably not. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go tier 3. I don't think he's as good as a hold as James Ward-Prowse would be because of the set pieces, for example. Kudus, I mean, what a player. If I'm putting Paqueta into tier 1, I think Kudus has to follow suit, to be honest. It'd be nice if he was a forward card. I think that would look really, really nice on Sora for him, as far as his scores go. But he's good enough as a midfielder. Like, he is able to chip in with tackles, duels, and interceptions. Never mind the attacking side of his game as well. I think he definitely deserves to be in tier 1. Archie Gray, we're into Tottenham. I mean, it's an unknown with Archie Gray, right? He does look amazing. He had a really good season at Leeds at such a young age. Probably does deserve a Premier League move. Is he going to get the game time that he probably deserves? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think if he does play, in a good fixture, you could expect 60 to 70 out of him quite comfortably. I don't think he's going to set the world alight, though, as far as how many games he's going to play. So for that reason, I think he goes into tier 3 for me for now. But definitely, has elite potential. Madison. Where do we throw Madison? Is he a tier 1 or is he a star rare? That's a tough one. Missed out on England duty. Very tough for him, in that sense. But full pre-season. He was injured quite a lot last season, which stifled him. But before his injury, he was a star rare. Like, I think he was. And I love James Maddison. I think he can do similar to what he did at the start of last season this season. And for that reason, he goes into star rare for me. We're into Palace, starting with Adam Wharton. Now, this one's a really interesting one. Obviously, signed from Blackburn, had got his England call up. Didn't probably play the amount of games he would have liked or minutes he would have liked at the Euros. But what a player, man. Jesus. He has a really, really high ceiling. Is he better than Emile Smith-Rowe, James Garner, Harvey Elliott, James Ward-Prowse? Maybe. I think I'm going to stick my neck out and say tier 1. I think he definitely has that capability. You know, Palace have obviously lost Elise, massive miss for sure. But Jesus, Adam Wharton could have a very, very good, well, will have a very good season. Will that translate to SO5? Probably. You know, we did see it translate last season when he finally moved. I think he deserves to be in tier 1. I really, really do. I think he could be a really, really nice card next season. Kamada, obviously new signing from Lazio. He has shown SO5 glimpses before. He's definitely not tier 1. There is an argument to say he could be in tier 2, but it's an unknown, so I'm going to say tier 3 for now. Eze, if I'm putting Adam Wharton in tier 1, I think Eze has to be in tier 1 as well. I really, really do. Ross Barkley, brand new signing obviously from Luton, was probably their best player last year in a struggling Luton side. Definitely deserved to move. There's no way Ross Barkley should be playing championship football. He's not tier 1. I think he deserves to be in tier 2 for me. I don't know how much game time he's really going to get. I think he will play a fair chunk. You know, Villa having European football definitely requires them to have a bigger squad. And so, yeah, he'll definitely play. I just don't know how viable he'll be as an SO5 option. McGinn definitely peaked last year in certain games. Is able to get 20 to 30 AA. Like, I won't dispute that. Do I think he'll hit the heights of last season? I think he'll be okay. I think I'm going to say tier 2. I don't think he's in that tier 1 pool for me right now. Yuri Tielemans peaked so early at Anderlecht, got his move and whatever, and I just don't rate him. I just don't think he's athletically good enough for the Premier League. Technically he is, like I won't dispute that, but I think the game just kind of passes him by a lot of the time, and they've brought in Onana as well, which we'll get into. I think Yuri Tielemans could be our first tier 4. I'm going to throw him in there. I'm sorry, Yuri, but Amadou Onana, brand new signing for Villa, of course, from Everton. He's definitely not a tier 3. He's not a tier 1. I think tier 2 is quite fair there for Onana. I just worry about his peaks. I just don't know where his peaks are really going to come from. Yeah, okay, he can get 20 to 35 AA from duels won, tackles, interceptions. I agree. It just kind of depends what role he plays for Villa. Yeah, I just worry about the decisives for him. So tier 2 feels fair there. Casemiro, I do not rate him at all. I think, you know, what a career he's had. You know, let's not get it twisted. Like, had an amazing career, but what I saw last season at United was not a pretty player at all. Physically, just has deteriorated. It feels like, seems like he's just treading water. And, you know, I don't want to disrespect him too much and play him in tier 4, but I think he's a tier 3 for me. Again, how much game time is he going to get? You know, maybe a fair amount, but yeah, I'm not convinced with Casemiro, to be honest. There's no way, you know, he improves physically. Like, he's only going to decline. That, you know, age gets the better of all of us. Like, I just can't see it happening for him. Bruno is an easy star rare. I don't think that one needs much explaining. Pens, free kicks, corners, goal kicks, the lot, right? He's on everything. Definitely deserves to be in there. If I'm putting Adam Wharton in tier 1, there's no way I can't put Kobe Mino in there. What a player. You know, breakout season last year. I called it really early on. When he first broke through for United, I think I said to Quinny in a video, I said, there was like a comparison, Miley or Kobe Mino, and I was saying, Kobe Mino is 10 times the player than Lewis Miley. You know, went to the Euros, played a bucket load of games for England at 19 at the Euros. Kind of tells you everything you need to know. And I think he will have a very good season at United. Capable of scoring goals and is capable of churning good AA as well. So, yeah, I think he firmly belongs in tier 1. Matt Sweefer, player that I really do rate, had an amazing season at Feyenoord. I think he will play a massive role at Brighton. He's not going to score as good as he did at Feyenoord. Let's just not get it twisted. Like, there's no way he scores 100 every other game, because that's literally what he did at Feyenoord. Way too good for the league, very athletic, can progress the ball very, very well, can chop up play as well, and he does have an eye for goal as well. Got a really good long shot on him, to be fair. I don't think I can put him in tier 1 for now. You know, there's too many uncertainties. I don't know how they're going to look, Brighton, new manager, etc. First time playing in the Prem. There's no way I can play him any higher there. Mitoma, you know, season last year was dampened by injuries, of course, and he is a tier 1 player on his day. I just don't know how long it's going to take us to see that player, you know, come into fruition in that sense. So I think he deserves tier 2 as well. I can't say tier 1 yet, just because of, you know, I haven't seen him, come back from injury yet, and we haven't, you know, there's just so many uncertainties there. But on his day, definitely a tier 1 player, 100%. You know, it's a bit annoying that he has a midfielder card. I think it would be nice if Mitoma had a forward card. That would make him a lot more lucrative, I think, as a so rare hold. Into Arsenal anyway, Martin Odegaard. I mean, he's got to be a star rare, right? Has to be. You know, the leader of that Arsenal side. So creative, you know, the main sort of 8-10 for them. And I don't see Arsenal slowing down, to be honest. And I don't see Odegaard, you know, doing the same. He's really coming into the sort of main stage of his career, prime, and yeah, I don't see him slowing down. There's a star right there for sure. Kai Havertz, it is a pity that he is a midfielder card. That does let him down. Does he deserve to be in tier 1? I don't think so. Not as a midfielder card. If he was a forward card, then, you know, that would be a different video. But yeah, he would be in a tier 1 comfortably as being Arsenal's sort of recognised 9 now. I think tier 2 is fair for him. I can't put him into tier 1 knowing that he's a midfielder card. Like, I'd prefer to play every one of these players, I think, over Kai Havertz. Maybe not Wharton. Depends on the matchup, right? But yeah, I struggle to put him into tier 1 just because of his position, if that makes sense, like on the card. If he was a forward, different story. Declan Rice, if he takes some set pieces, he's got to be a star rare for me. Has to be. If I'm putting Martin Odegaard up there, if Rice, you know, off the basis if he does get set pieces and has set pieces as well, shared with Saka, of course, I think Rice is a star rare. 100%. And then we finish off with Chelsea and then City. Romeo Lavia, very, very good player. Like, does look fit in pre-season. I pray he can stay fit, you know, because I do think he'll have a lot to say for that Chelsea midfield. But again, a lot of uncertainties. For me, he's a tier 2 for now. Could potentially push into tier 1 depending on his game time. I think there'll be a lot of rotation in that Chelsea midfield. Caicedo, definitely better than tier 2 for me. I think he probably deserves to be in that tier 1 pool. I think less rotation for somebody like a Caicedo in that midfield. I think Enzo maybe falls into that category as well, but the Lavia, Dewsbury Hall situation, definitely, you know, there'll definitely be some rotation there. But yeah, Caicedo's, you know, a definite tier 1 for me. Mudryk, I mean, I'm not a fan of Mudryk at all. Like, I'm really, really not a fan. As far as SO5 scores go, yeah, he can be okay at times. Again, somebody that probably needs a forward card. I'm going to put him in tier 4, lads. I'm just not having Mudryk at all. I think he's a very bad footballer. Absolute pace merchant. In a similar vein to like a Timo Werner. I just don't rate them. I really don't. There's just no end product there. Yeah, it might come with time. He's still only 23, don't get me wrong. But I'm just not seeing it. I'm really not. And, you know, now Neto's been signed, I just don't see him being, you know, a guaranteed SO5 player that you can rely on every week in Mudryk. So yeah, for that reason, he's going into tier 4. Enzo, he's not a tier 3. Let's have it right. I'm biased, I am, because I do like Enzo a lot. I've owned his card since the River Plate days. I've watched him go on to win the World Cup. Like, he's done things in football that, you know, a very, very small percentage of players do. I don't know. This is a really tough one. Like, if I had Caicedo and Enzo given to me for free and I can only pick one, who am I picking? I think Caicedo comes with a little bit more reassurance. Enzo definitely has a peak in him for sure, but I'm going to have to be pessimistic with this one. I can't let my bias get in the way. I think I'm going to say tier 2 for now. Definitely has the capabilities to be a tier 1 star rare. Like, he does, but I'm not having it right now. I can't put him into that tier 1 pool. And then finishing off with Man City then. Lots of midfielders at sea. Lots of options. Oscar Bob first up. Does seem like Bob's going to get a lot more game time this year. He is, you know, very Matrix friendly. Again, somebody that maybe should have a forward card and would make him a little bit more Matrix friendly. I think he's a tier 3 for now. Again, you know, the whole City situation with their players in general is just the pep roulette, right? Like, that does just let them down outside of Rodri and some of the other players, Haaland, you know, Diaz. Some of the certainties in that spine, you kind of know are going to play more often than not. Unfortunately, Bob, you know, could be a tier 2, tier 1 in time, 1,000,000%. If there's a few injuries and, you know, he gets a run of games, then great. 100% he's in that conversation, but yeah, I just don't think I can play him in there. Similarly to Jack Grealish. I mean, he falls victim to Doku being the main winger, realistically. He should be raring to go, knowing that, you know, he's had a very long pre-season. I think tier 2's fair for him. I don't want to do him a disservice and play him in tier 3. I think tier 2's fair. Kevin De Bruyne, if he's fit, if he's staying, if he doesn't want to take the Saudi bag, he's a star rare, lads. Let's just have it right. Definitely a star rare. Kovacic, very good score on his day. I think he's a tier 2, isn't he? Realistically. If I'm putting Grealish in there's no way I can't put Kovacic in there. Probably does sort of miss out on peak scores, I would say. Like, Kovacic getting like a 90 to 100 is quite rare, I would say. is able to churn AA. I'll give him that. But yeah, I don't think I can put him any higher, to be honest. Phil Foden. I mean, he's either tier 1 or star rare, let's be honest. I think I'm going to say star rare. It doesn't feel right that I've put this many star rares in compared to tier 1s, but, you know, it's just how it's fallen. I mean, yeah, if he can replicate the numbers he got last season, there's no way Phil Foden's not a star rare, is there? It's just simple as. Bernardo Silva is a comfortable tier 1 for me. Don't think he's quite star rare. You've got Savio now coming in for that right wing position. I think there'll be a little bit of rotation. I know Silva, like, he's been so clutch for City. Like, he always pops up with the really important goals, and he is able to get good AA as well. I won't dispute that. He definitely can, and for that reason, yeah, tier 1 feels fine for him. And then Rodrigo. I mean, for me, the best Premier League midfielder, if not the best midfielder in the world on this game, can do absolutely everything that you want a midfielder to do. Okay, will he get as many decisives that he did last year? I don't think he does. I really don't. But does that mean he's still not the best? Probably not. I still think he is. I still think he is so 100 capable. You know, City are going to dominate a lot of games, as are other teams, of course, but yeah, I think Rodrigo's always good. Like, his floor is like 70 points, really. Like, 35 AA is Rodrigo's floor. And then it's just like, okay, does he get an assist that game? Does he get a goal? If so, 100. Simple as. So, yeah, there's no way Rodrigo doesn't go into star rare for me. And that, and yeah, that kind of finishes off midfielders for us, I think. Yeah, maybe if I've been a little bit too generous in the star rare pool, yeah, you could maybe argue McAllister, Maddison, maybe Bruno could be put down into tier 1. Like, I can kind of see that argument. Tier 2, again, is our most popular tier. I'm quite surprised that I only put 2 players into tier 4, to be honest. I thought there would be more. Like, you know, there is other midfielders in the Prem, don't get me wrong. We haven't covered every single Premier League midfielder. And if we did, like some of the Southampton ones and Ipswich, you know, no disrespect, but they would probably fall into tier 3 and tier 4. But, you know, for the sake of the length of this video, what are we? 27 minutes. So we're not a million miles away from that 30-minute mark that I wanted to avoid. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anyone that you completely disagree with, and anyone that I've missed out that, you know, deserves to be on here. Maybe Dewsbury Hall, potentially, but I think he probably falls into tier 3/2. Yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I think I'm going to make the goalkeeper and defender video as one. I don't think I'm going to do 2 separate videos for those. I shall see you guys in the next video.